house that is haunted. Right from the start, dear, built on an acre of sand.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Zada.
And I'm Kelly, and you're listening to
Two Sides of the Truth. So you're going to hear some background noise once again because we are still on the restaurant side, hidden in a corner.
Still got that bar ambiance going on.
And it is Saturday morning, so there's people having breakfast and mimosas, namely me.
Some people have a whole bottle of champagne in an ice bucket right in front of them.
It's so weird how people do that. I don't know who did that. It's so weird.
I mean, I'm not being specific. I'm just throwing out things that I've seen.
Just a second. Let me
get it down in there a little better. You got to shift the ice.
I know. It won't even go all the way.
You got to shift the ice.
So we skipped a week. I put something on Facebook about it, and people were very disappointed. I was like,
our
schedules just weren't aligning, and it just didn't work out. So we skipped a week. So maybe we'll be able to get 2 episodes in this week, but no promises.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to have the same fly / that's a gnat that just flew in my mouth.
Ew.
There's not a gnat problem here. I'm just going to put this out. We're not even near the bar kitchen area. We're in a corner. And I think it's the sunlight and the plants over here. But when I was recording with Al on Tuesday, the whole time a fly, like the only fly, there were no other flies in the area. We didn't see a single other one. And it went in my back, just my back. It would not leave me alone. I was wearing a sundress and I'm like hitting my back the whole podcast. And when we were done, I was like, did y'all see the fly attacking me? We're like, yes, we did.
Poor thing.
I was like, oh my gosh. All right. So Kelly and I are going to go see the Barbie movie today.
Yep. Finally making it happen.
Yes. And we're taking Rick's daughter, Madison, and we're taking, I haven't told you this yet, Zoe, because I bought 3 tickets last night. And this morning I said, because Ailey's already seen it and she's not home yet from her aunt's. I said, we're going to see the Barbie movie this afternoon. He was like, did you give me a ticket? I was like, you want to see the Barbie movie? He was like, yeah. All my friends are going to see it.
How dare you leave him out?
Yeah. And now when you buy tickets, they're all, they're seats that, you have to pick your seats and everything. And so I looked and the seat next to us was still available. So he's now going as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're going to have a little fun time
have
at
our
Barbie.
little kid.
I know. So I was thinking this morning as I'm putting things away, I was thinking about the Barbie movie and I wanted to dress in something that to me was Barbie-esque.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, come on, I'm a real Barbie girl. And so I just started thinking about Barbie throughout my life. And I know that sounds really silly, but I was a Barbie fanatic. And I was also a very poor child my first 5-6 years of life. So I never got like new Barbies. I never got new toys and I never got new Barbies. For Christmas when I was 4 or 5, I think I was 4, my 4th Christmas, my mom gave me one gift and it was a baton, and gave my brother one gift and it was like a stuffed animal. And you would have thought we got the best gift ever because they were new and we just didn't usually get new toys. So it was just, even one was okay because it was new.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that gives you the depth of how poor we were. And so I just didn't get a lot of new things. But my mom had a friend that had a lot of money. She came from a lot of money. And her daughter, Tara, I don't really know how much older than she was. Because, when you're 4 or 5 and someone's like 7, they seem like a teenager.
Yeah, for sure.
I think she's 5 years older than me, but I could be totally wrong. But she was past the Barbie stage when I was just getting into the Barbie stage. Mm-hmm. And she was one of the hippie friends' daughters. And when we lived in Austin, I'm a Barbie fanatic, but we never had any new Barbies. In fact, my favorite Barbie and my main Barbie, which is the only Barbie I still own, is my mom's original Midge doll, who was Barbie's first best friend. Mm-hmm. And it's from the 60s, and it has amazing red hair, and her hair is like, I don't know what you call that haircut, but it's kind of like a Betty Page haircut, but the curls, the bangs look like Betty Page, but the curls at the bottom, they didn't flip in like Betty Page's, they flipped up and out like 60s.
Yeah.
They still hold their curl, like they still look just beautiful. And she now wears a dress from my favorite Barbie from 1982. I looked up what year that Barbie came out, that the dress came from recently. I don't know why. And so I started thinking about all these Barbie stories. So my brothers all, we were at their house and they said, hey, we have a Barbie dream house you can have, which was beyond my wildest dreams to own a Barbie dream house. And it was like the original 1970s Barbie dream house. This is probably 1978, I'm guessing. And she was like, you can have it, but it's out back in the corner of the yard and there's a beehive next to it and they're everywhere. They just swarm it. Mm-hmm. So you've got to get it out of the bees.
You got to risk your life.
Yes, basically.
Risk your life for Barbie dream house.
Yeah. So Zoe's like, I got this. I'm getting my sister that Barbie dream house. I'm going in. So he like grabbed a bunch of like old like sheets and stuff and covered himself in sheets.
Yeah.
And he's like, you have to think he's probably like 6. He's not like a big kid. My brother was only a little less than 2 years old. Oh no, he was 26 months older than me. And yeah. 18 months. Shit, I don't know. One of those. I confuse my kid space with ours now. Anyways, he was somewhere around 2 years older than me. And so he decided he was going in and he was getting that Barbie dream house for me. And he did. He got it for me and he pulled it away from all the bees and then he cleaned it for me. And then
a good big brother.
I know. And I played with that damn thing until I gave it to my little sister 10 years later or something like that. Not 10 years. I would have been 16, 14, but later. Yeah. And play with it with my little Midge. And I can remember my mom when she married my stepdad, my main stepdad. We had a few, but the one that raised me. And we suddenly had enough money for real, like new toys. Mm-hmm. And so I can remember my mom taking me to Walmart in Waxahachie, the old Walmart, and letting me go in and pick a Barbie new. And that being the coolest thing ever, I got this new Barbie. Yeah. And after that, every time I got a Barbie, I'm opening it as soon as we get in the car. Yeah. Like it's a core memory as a child, picking the Barbie first and then going to the car and opening the Barbie and just first, you want to get all the little toys out. Like she's going to have a purse. She's going to have
her shoes.
Yeah. And I started thinking about this morning and all the Barbies I had, and they showed all the like most famous Barbies of each year now that they're talking about Barbie a lot. And I had a large portion of those Barbies, but I didn't pick many of those Barbies. Those were birthday gifts or whatever. Yeah. I always picked the Barbie. Our car, if there was a car, like if we were going to get like Matchbox cars, I always like to pick the one that looked like a family. Like I wanted it to look like a mom. I didn't want her to look like a movie star. Mm-hmm. I didn't want my car to look like a Corvette. I wanted my car to be like a...
You were more practical.
I wanted a station wagon. Yeah. Y'all. And I don't know why. I mean, it's really weird. As a Matchbox car, my favorite one was a green Volvo station wagon. Love that damn thing. And I don't know what happened to it. I'm surprised I didn't save it. I'm such a pack rat. But so Barbie came out with a Hart family, which the Hart family, and I haven't heard anyone talk about this family, but it was like Barbie and Friends. This is probably like 1983, I'm guessing, maybe 84. And I wanted it because it had a little boy and a little girl and a husband and a wife. And the mom had brown hair. Like my color hair. Yeah. And I wanted a Barbie to look like me. I always picked the Barbies that weren't blonde. I wanted the brunette. I wanted the black Barbie. I wanted the, Asian Barbie. Teresa, I love me some Teresa. Kiana, what was her name? Something like that. She was like Polynesian, had that Barbie. And I just started thinking about how I always wanted the Barbie that didn't look like me. And I just started that looked more like me. And then I started thinking about representation and how now children have so many toys that look like them and how important that is. Because I was a white kid and I was just happy to get one that wasn't blonde.
Very true. I remember growing up with Barbie. I loved Barbie too. But when I was younger, before I got into Barbies, my sister was 4 years older than me. And so she had some Barbies, but not very many. Like, it was only a couple. And of course, she had the blonde one because my sister was blonde. Mm-hmm. My sister was Barbie growing up to me because she was blonde and she was thin and she was beautiful. She's beautiful. Like, I totally looked up to her. I always stole her clothes. I drove her crazy because I wanted to be part of her friend group and everything. And I was just the little sister, right? But I loved Barbie, and I loved that. And that was something that I aspired to, but also thought, like, I can never look like Barbie. I don't look like Barbie. I'm not blonde. But that's what I always associated Barbie with. But then they came out with Barbie's little sister, Kelly.
I forgot Kelly's name was Kelly.
And she has dark hair.
Yes, she does. And I had a Kelly doll.
I literally, when I saw Kelly in the store, I cried.
I bet you did. And her name was Kelly.
I did, because it was like it just came to fruition, this whole thing of like me feeling like I didn't like measure up to the Barbie standards. Right. I didn't look like Barbie. I was not blonde. I didn't look anything like that. But then there was Kelly, and Kelly was my favorite.
I forgot about Kelly. Isn't that funny?
Look at me tearing up. Oh, Kelly.
It is, though. But this is exactly the thought process of me today thinking about my mom. It made me memories of my mom and I opening. My mom was all about me getting some Barbie love. Like, she showered me in all the Barbies. And once she could afford it, like she was as excited as me to buy me a new Barbie. And I just think as a mom that's been a single mom that couldn't afford nice gifts for their kids at times, I know what that meant to my mom when she could finally do that. And so, I thought about that. So then that brought me to thinking about this. And I think they touch on it maybe in the movie. We're seeing the movie today, so we'll find out. But I feel like I heard a little rumbling about it. I could be wrong. Maybe they were just talking about it. But about collector Barbies and how you keep them in the box. So, back in the 90s, it became this big deal. They had all these collector Barbies coming out. They really didn't have that before the 90s. You got your Barbie, you ripped it open.
Oh, yeah.
And then they started making all these limited edition Barbies that they really made thousands of. But, they had one for every country and they had whatever. So my ex-in-laws would buy me all these Barbies every year for Christmas. They knew I loved Barbies. And so they would buy me collector Barbies. And they bought me, one of them was they had a bunch of Native American ones that came out, and they would buy me all the Native American because my ex-mother-in-law was Native. Well, she was Canadian Indian, but that's Native American, just a different kind. They're Tlingit. And they came out with a Tlingit Indian Barbie, which is crazy because it's not really an Indian you hear a lot about. And it's not even spelled a K, y'all. It's Tligit, I believe. But it's pronounced Tlingit. And they came out with this beautiful Tlingit Indian Barbie, and they gave me that. And then they gave me like a Gone with the Wind Barbie, and I Love Lucy Barbie. I had, what's her name, the comedian that had her own TV show, Rosie O'Donnell Barbie. I was happy because she was plus size, and I was like, I wasn't even plus size at the time. I just thought, awesome, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So any kind of like little collector thing back in the 90s and early 2000s, my ex-in-laws would buy me like one or two a year for whatever spaceship. But what am I going to do with them? I didn't know what my plan. I mean, I'm not going to tell them don't buy them for me, but what the hell am I going to do with all these Barbies in boxes? So when we got divorced, I had like 3 boxes of Barbies, big boxes and I was hauling that shit. You know how many times I moved the first 2 years after my divorce? Like, I don't know, 7 times. Like, we were trying to find a start over. So here comes Christmas one year, and I have no money for gifts. Like, I'm not getting child support. I'm really struggling. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm just trying to get food on the table and keep the lights on. And that's when it hit me. This is what these Barbies I was saving all these years for. They're getting Barbies for Christmas. They're getting collector edition Barbies for Christmas.
Barbies.
And they are going to play with them. We are going to open that shit up, and we are going to play with these Barbies. And we did. I gave my girls that year for every birthday, whatever, they got a collector edition Barbie of mine, and they thought that was the coolest thing ever.
That's so
and
cool.
they played with them, and they enjoyed them. And I think that's what Barbies are meant for. I don't think they're meant to be put up on a shelf. I think that they need to be played with, and they need to be enjoyed, and let your imagination run wild. And I just thought that was kind of full circle with my mom and I, because now I get why she was so happy she could afford to buy them.
Yeah.
And one time Zaylee was obsessed with this one Barbie because it looked like her, because Zaylee also has dark hair, and she had this little Barbie she loved, and it was nothing special. Like, I think she got it used, but she loved this particular Barbie, and she had she's autistic, and she had a meltdown. She was pretty little, and in the meltdown, the head got removed. And used to be you could put Barbie's head back on.
Yeah.
But then they went to a stage where you can't. I don't know if they do now or not.
I know.
And that was not good engineering, by the way. No. Kids are going to pop some heads off.
Oh, yeah.
So she just cried and cried and cried. And, I didn't have a lot of money, but I was like, we're going to replace this Barbie, So I went to Target, I think it was, and we found another Barbie with dark hair, and she was so excited. And I just thought, the whole thing just made me think of there's just so many aspects to little girls and Barbies, and some little boys. I'm sure there's some little boys.
Oh, yeah.
My older sister, who is a lesbian, my stepsister, she would play Barbies with me occasionally. She wasn't as big a Barbie fanatic. But when she would play Barbies, she would pick the Barbie. I had one Barbie, I think it was Teresa, that was like a beach Barbie, and her hair was like down to her feet, and it was dark. So my sister was like, this is Crystal Gale. Because Crystal Gale's a country singer that's hair was under her feet. And she wanted it to be Crystal Gale. But then she had her other Barbie, and it could be Tanya Tucker or Barbara Mandrell. It kind of rotated who she made the other Barbie. But they were a couple. And I'm like, Brie, I have Kens. I have like 4 Kens over here. She's like, no.
No, we're good.
No. She's with Tanya.
I didn't ever use Kens. I always stole my brother's G.I. Joes, and he had a G.I. Joe, and then he had a Spider-Man and a Batman. and an Incredible Hulk. And those
Were they Barbie size, or was she going with a little man?
No, they were like the big,
okay, yeah, I remember
big
those. Yeah.
action figure ones, and I would use all of them.
I mean, I don't blame her. That's way better than Ken.
And I had a Ken too, but the Barbies would always leave Ken for Batman or
something. I'd leave Ken for G.I. Joe. There's
I felt bad for Ken, but how are you going to turn down Batman?
I mean, yeah.
I'm like, sorry, I got to go with Batman.
It's Batman. Isn't that funny? I had, when Zoe was little, we lived in this, little. Zane, like I'm pregnant with Zane. And we lived in Plano, and we had this house that had built-in bookshelves on one wall in her bedroom. Like the whole floor to ceiling was bookshelves. And they were just the perfect height to be Barbie's apartments.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
So I made the entire bottom half of it as far as she could reach, apartments, and I set it up for her with bedrooms and dining rooms and stuff. And to this day, she brings up that bookshelf. She was like, and she was only like 2. She was little. And she was like, remember that house where I had the Barbie apartments? I was like, oh, yeah, I know. It was pretty amazing. I did that.
I did that.
I was just living through my dreams. But anyways, I'm really excited about the Barbie movie.
I am too. I'm kind of late to the bandwagon, but we're getting on it.
Well, I wanted to go this whole time, but I've been this is my first weekend home in a month.
Yeah.
Over a month.
And I've gone to the movies since it's been out, but I went with Dante, and of course he's not taking me to see the Barbie movie. I was like, I see the limitations of your love now.
Yeah. This is what I was looking for.
Okay, good to know.
I asked Rick if he wanted to go to it, and he was like, why the hell would you even ask? I was like, I mean, let me tell you, Dad supporting a Barbie habit. When I met him in his backyard, she had a playhouse that he had built in her backyard, and it was like a storage building he turned into a miniature house. Mm-hmm. Painted it to match the house, light fixture, everything. Mm-hmm. Electricity run to it, air conditioning unit in the window. And
that's the setup that I
built a front porch on it, everything.
Well,
yeah, I'd live in it right now. Yeah, she had a she shed.
That's what
and it was just like a Barbie house exploded. And I'm sure his mom was part of that too, because she didn't have any girls, so she got to was. Yeah. And that was her only grandchild at the time. So there was Barbie. It looked like Barbie land. A tornado hit it.
Oh yeah,
and it killed half the ones, and they were laying everywhere. But she was
tragic.
All about some Barbies. So she's pretty excited about the movie. Zaylee's already seen it, and she went with her aunt, so she's not going with us. She's coming home right around the time that we're going to be at the movie theater. So I know we're beating a dead horse, but I'm so excited about it. Like, this is a big deal.
Pretty excited, too.
Yeah. I was like, looking in my closet. I was like, I need more pink clothes. I'm having a hard time finding pink. What do I have that's pink? So we had to go with this is my Mod Barbie's outfit.
I like it.
I remember they had a Mod Barbie. I don't know if you remember that, but it was one of the collector editions, and it was a very similar dress to the one I'm wearing.
It's totally Barbie.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing today. So I'm excited. This is what we're doing today. We'll let y'all know what we think about it, our takeaways. But okay, so what else we got?
So I'm really excited because we're finally done with summer day camp at the Boys and Girls Club, and summer is when I go full time. And so instead of just having the kids after school, we have them all day. And it's always a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of fun this summer, but I am always so excited when summer day camp ends because, oh my gosh, that is a lot of time with kids. A lot.
Yeah.
But it's over. Our last day of summer day camp was on Friday, and school starts back here in Waxahachie on Thursday next week. So
my son's excited about it.
Really?
Weird.
I was taking a poll to the kids and seeing like who was actually excited about school coming back and who's not. And it's about 50-50. Some of them are really excited. They want to see their friends again.
This is the first year he's ever been excited about it. Oh. He had a really good year last year, minus not doing his work. Maybe that's why it was so good. Now that I think about it.
He didn't have so much work to do, yeah.
But he did tell me, he was like, because, he had to do summer school. So he did tell me the other day, I'm really excited about school starting. And I wasn't asking him. I didn't prompt him. He brought it up. And I was like, oh, yeah, why is that? And he was like, because I'm really going to focus, and I'm going to show you what I can do. That's the plan.
That's good.
I was like, I'm going to support you.
I'm glad that he has come to the realization that it's not worth having to do
summer
he
didn't
school.
have as good a summer school as everybody else did.
Yeah.
He didn't get to go to all these fun places. He went to some of them, but he had to go to school. Yep. So that'll slow it down.
You learn your lessons.
That was part of the reason we didn't do a big family trip, because June was a better month for it. That's when it's not as hot here.
Yeah.
But now we don't want to go anywhere. We won't even get on the lake. Like, it's just too hot.
It's just you're in a bath.
It's 105 here, y'all.
I haven't.
It was 110 one day this week. It hit 110.
It's ridiculous.
It is so stupid.
Way too hot.
When I went to Galveston, it was 92, and it felt like a cold front. I was like, this is insane that this doesn't bother me at all. At all. I was outside all day in 92. Not even the day I went to the beach. I'm talking when I was walking like the Strand and looking at things, and I was like, nah, this feels great.
Yeah.
Because I'm now ready for living next to the sun directly.
Yes, we're indirect
Yeah.
access to the sun.
Not fun.
No, it's not. So what is something that you have really enjoyed this summer? What's one thing that you've done that has been like your, oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. Your summer highlight so far.
I think the weekend that I had the girls' weekend and we wrote the song was got my I felt like I found my creativity
You
again.
did. You found your creative bone.
I've always I'm a creative person. Obviously, I'm a talker, and unfortunately, I can't shut up. I got to gear it a direction. And so it was nice to put a new spin on it. And I honestly, I'm constantly thinking of songs in my head now as if I'm some kind of songwriter.
You opened up Pandora's box, man.
I do know I need Erica and I need Darla there to hone in and make it better, but I really enjoyed it. So I'd say that my girls' weekends were all the girls' weekends were great. Yeah. That one was just different than normal.
I actually had a really good time for our cleaning weekend.
That would have been my second one.
Like,
isn't that funny?
I know that it was just us.
And it was a close first.
And yeah, but I had so much fun cleaning. I guess I really have fun cleaning other people's houses though. But it was a lot of fun just to hang out and it was so satisfying. It was to get that done.
I think it was not just the fact that we were cleaning, but my thought process, and I told Bonnie this later because I told Bonnie, I was like, I don't want you to think that we think the cabin's dirty and you don't take care of it. Because that's not the case. It's beautiful. We just want to show you that we are thanking you for everything you do for us. And I feel like my way of showing love is to give you something. And to me, giving you a deep clean.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
That's showing a lot of love and respect for that place.
She was like, I hadn't thought about it that way. And I was like, the whole time I was cleaning it, I felt like I was like honoring Dorothy.
Yeah.
By maintaining her home, because that would make me feel good. Mm-hmm. And I know it'd make and I kept thinking my mom would be so proud of me right now that I am cleaning my grandma's house. Like that would, you know what I mean? It's so funny how even though they're both dead, but that is how I thought. So that would be mine. Do you have another one, or is that just number one definitely?
Well, really, I haven't done much this summer. I mean, my other one would be when I got to go and have our little time with my family when I had our little trip. Our glamping trip. That was fun.
That's fun.
I had a good time. I always have a good time with my family, but I haven't done a lot other than that because I do summer day camp, and so haven't really.
The trip to Galveston was also. I just went on a trip which we haven't talked about yet, but I just went on a trip to Galveston last weekend, and it was my only vacation really because I took 2 days off for it, so it was 4 days, and I would say that's one, but that's not to me. That's just like it's a whole different entity. It's not part of my summer. It's it was. I'm going to go into it in a minute, but it was a really good, healing weekend. Mm. And so I'll get into that once we decide we're done talking about summer. But
you can go into it now, yeah.
So for any of you that are not on my Facebook and haven't heard me discuss this, because I did post some pictures, Zaylee graduated this year, my 17-year-old. She'll be 18 this week. No, wait, in a week. And Zaylee graduated, and I always take my kids when they graduate on a trip, just the two of us, and they get to pick where we go. That's reasonable. It's been Florida so far every time because we all like the beach.
It's a good pick. Yeah.
And so she wanted to go to Florida to the beach, and then I said, we could fit one day of Disney in there if you want to, because I've taken my kids to Disney before, but she was so little she doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
I was like, if you want to go to Universal or you want to go to Disney for a day, we can do that. I can't afford a week of Disney by myself. Right. I could, but I'm not going into debt right before I send you to college.
Yeah, we got other priorities.
Yeah, I like to pay cash. If you can't afford it with cash, I'm not putting all that credit on my credit card. So she was like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. So that was the plan for about 2 months. And then it was time for me to book it. And I said, okay, I'm about to book it. And we were talking about the dates that were good. And she says, the next morning she wakes up, she was like, I was thinking about it. And this is what I'd rather do. I'd rather go to Galveston and have my Aunt Susie and her cousin Linda Lee, Susie's daughter, join us. And she knew they couldn't go all the way to Florida, so and I couldn't afford to take everybody to Florida. She was like, can we instead do Galveston? Now, if you've ever been to Florida and you've been to Galveston Beach, these do not compare to each other.
No, they don't. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, the beaches in Florida are freaking amazing. They're my favorite thing. I absolutely love it. And Galveston is when you want to go to a beach, but there's no other beach
Yeah.
around you. Like
It's your closest beach.
yeah. And so, but we lived in Houston for years, so I used to take the kids to Galveston. So we do have a little connection, like Zoe, that she connects it to her childhood big time. It's one of her favorite memories. So I was like, all right, well, if that's what you want to do, that's great. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to save some money. It's going to be a lot cheaper for me. So I was like, all right. And I get along great with my ex-sister-in-law. And so I was like, yeah, let's do that. So we called her. She said, yes, she'd absolutely be in it. So I booked it. It just happened to be my ex-sister-in-law's 40th birthday that weekend.
Oh, wow.
So she spent her 40th birthday with me and Zaylee and her daughter.
How sweet.
Her daughter is 6, and her daughter's name is Linda Lee. And now Zaylee is autistic, as we've talked about. Linda Lee is also autistic. This comes from her father's side, clearly. And so is Susan, my ex-sister-in-law. All pretty high functioning, all a lot of fun to hang out with. There was just a lot of talking. There's a lot of talking. Like, I was the least talker
Wow.
of the group.
That's saying something.
And yeah. And Zaylee really hyper focuses on things. So, like, once she gets something in her head, she will discuss that until that horse is dead. She is going to beat that horse dead. Mm-hmm. So she gets hyper focused, and So on the way there, we're on our way to Houston. We're going to drop Zoel off at his grandparents, my ex-husband's parents. We're going to have lunch with them. And then we're going to head to Galveston and follow each other to Galveston. So that's the plan. The whole way to Kingwood, where we met her parents, Zaylee is hyper-focusing on my divorce. Okay. Because she associates Houston with when her parents were married.
Yeah.
And that's where they got divorced. Mm-hmm. And she does not know Dallas as her parents ever being together, even though that's where we met and where we started. But she was never part of that. So she's hyper-focused on it. And it's all she can talk about is her dad and me and just, So finally I'm like, listen, Zaylee, I do not want to spend my weekend talking about your dad. No offense, but we're on good terms. He's doing a good job right now. I don't want to start that.
Yeah.
I don't want you thinking negative of your dad. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, let's not do that for the trip.
She was like, okay, I'm going to try and refocus. I was like, good idea. Let's refocus. So we take the drive into Houston, and she kept doing it. She'd catch herself and being like, okay, no. I was like, there's so many other wonderful moments we've shared in Houston. Let's focus on those, or let's focus on you, or let's focus on Susie and Linda Lee. So she's like, okay. So we get there, have a wonderful lunch, head to Galveston, get to Galveston. We have this cute little condo. It's called the Mermaid Condo, decorated mermaids. It was really cute. It was 3 blocks from the beach, so we could walk to the beach.
Sweet.
It was nice. And it wasn't very expensive. Kind of got a steal on it. The only issue was it only had one parking spot. There's no street parking around there because everything's timed because of the beach being so close. Mm-hmm. So I had to pay $80 to park my truck in a not so great neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
It was the only place I could find where I could park it overnight. And so I had to pay to park. And we had to drive her vehicle because she had a car seat in it. You can't just move car seats that easy.
Yeah.
So I had to go park my truck. Anyway, so we get there, and I get to spend the weekend with his sister. And I have not spent time with my ex-sister-in-law since my divorce 15 years ago. I mean, I see her here. She comes here. We're Facebook friends. We talk occasionally. I have reached out to her a few times, and she has reached out to me a few times where I'm like, hey, I just want you to know I still love you. Yeah. I care about you. We met when she was 8 and I was 16.
Wow.
So I've known her whole life pretty much, She was undiagnosed at the time, and at the time you didn't diagnose kids with autism, especially girls. It was just ADHD and behavior issues. Mm-hmm. And I had never experienced autism. I didn't know what it was, but I never experienced it. I tell her all the time, you were the one that prepared me for Zaylee. I used to think she needed a spanking. She did not. She needed medication. Yeah. And she needed to be understood, and she needed the right treatment at school, So she really prepped me for Zaylee, and Susan and I have just gone through so much together. And so I've tried to keep her close to me throughout the year. I just want her to know I love her, So we've maintained a great relationship. So we get there, and it was just really cool because I could tell she loved me equally. And we had great conversations, and she also hyper-focuses sometimes. So she would bring up her brother. Things I didn't know about our divorce popped up that she thought I was aware of that were news to me. Mm. And I did have to tell her, I don't care anymore.
Let that go.
Yeah, I don't care anymore. But I do, but it is I don't know. It's hard to ignore that because that's how we know each other. She witnessed so much. And and once I was gone, I was gone. It just disappeared for a few years. Like it went from me being a daily part of her life for 15 years or 20 years. We were together a long time to where's Zada? And she was a young adult at the time. She was like 21 when we divorced, 22, somewhere around there. And so we had a really good visit. We really got to bond. But on top of that, Zaylee got to see how much work Linda Lee is, because Linda Lee is 6 years old. She's autistic. She's in therapy. She's learning how to not hyper-focus. She's learning how to let other people have their way, to how to communicate, how to not lose her shit, like just how to deal with herself. How to function. Yep. And her mother has her with an amazing therapist, because I really see her I see Linda Lee exercising like things she's been taught to maintain
Putting
herself.
them into practice. That's good.
Yes. And we went down to the beach. She had never been to the beach before. So we go to the beach, and I'm like, and she's all about Aunt Zada. She is all and she calls Rick Cowboy Rick. and then she was like, if y'all get married, he's going to be Uncle Rick, which is really funny because I'm not even technically her aunt. Yeah. And she's naming my boyfriend Uncle Rick, which I thought was really funny.
That is cute.
But right now he's Cowboy Rick. That's how she refers to him. And so we go to she wants to be with me the whole time. She's usually all about Zaylee. Zaylee is her best friend. She worships Zaylee. But I'm there, and I'm her new favorite person. So I spent the whole weekend with this little kid holding her hand, and it was awesome. Aww. I haven't spent any time with any little kids in so long. Aww. I really just enjoy. I thought, at some point I could be a grandparent, because I'll be honest with you, I've not really wanted to be. Wow. Because I raised so many kids by myself. I'm kind of tired. But no rush for my kids, though. I don't want to be.
Y'all can hold off as long as you want.
I'm going to give y'all a good 10 years before I need one. But it was a lot of fun. And so we go down to the beach, and she sits in the water, and she sits in about, I want to say 5 inches of water. I mean, we're in the shallow end. And I sit down next to her. And you know how when the waves come in and they go out, they kind of move you. If you're sitting, they'll just shift you. It's the stimulation she loved. She was, and she communicates that because she's learned in therapy. She was like, I like this. I like how it makes me feel. I like this. And it would just move her, and she would just loved it. Well, then also, you know how the sand kind of, if you put your feet in the sand and you stand, it'll start like,
it swallowing
your feet, and the same with your hands or your booty or whatever. Well, it would do that too, and slowly she figured that out, and she loved that sensation too. So she basically did not want to move from that spot the whole time we were there. And she did well, though. Like when it was time to go, there was only one time she got pretty upset, but she didn't throw it. Zaylee would have thrown a much larger fit at that age. She did not. She honestly, all three of them through the weekend, no problems.
That's really good.
It was really nice. But the best part about the weekend, I enjoyed the time with Zaylee. I enjoyed seeing Zaylee. She see how much work Linda Lee was, and she would turn to me and be like, that's me. That's what I used to do. That's how it was. I was like, oh, girl, you were much harder.
That's just a little glimpse.
You were much harder. And Susan would say all the time, you were much harder. Like, I was there. I saw. You were much harder. And so Zaylee's like, I've got to control myself. I've got, like, she realized.
That's some good insight for her to see
really
it firsthand
was.
And not just have someone tell you, oh, this is how it was, or, oh, this is how you're acting and this is how it's coming across, but to actually see it from somebody else that is in the same shoes that she's in to really be able to connect with that.
And like Susan, and all three, well, not all three of them. Susan and Zaylee, one of their stems, like, if you know someone with autism, they stem. They do things that make them stimulate themselves, I guess, in some way. And it might be a way to calm themselves down. It might be that they're so upset they're just trying to not lose their shit. And Zaylee and Susan have the same stems. I mean, I'm telling you, God gave me Susan to prepare me for Zaylee. And one of them is kind of moving their hands back and forth, like down to their side and back and forth. And the other one is bouncing. Mm-hmm. So both Susan and Zaylee, when they were little and you'd be driving down the road, would bounce in their seat back and forth so hard. I'd be driving down the road and the car would be just jerking back and forth. Sometimes I'm like, you have to stop them in traffic. Like, you're making me nervous. You have to, but you can't really tell her to stop because it's the only way she hated being in the car. It was the only way to get her to deal
calm
with being.
down,
And she did it till she was probably 12. And she still does it sometimes, but just not as often. Well, Susan did the same thing. And Susan did the same thing so much that her parents had a special chair for her, like not a recliner, but looked like a recliner. It just didn't recline, a big soft big chair, you know. And about every 2 years, they'd have to replace one of them because she would pop the springs out. She'd bounce so hard.
Wow.
And so that's her way of stimming that helps her calm her down. Well, now she has an autistic daughter who can't handle her mom stimming like that.
Oh, wow.
It upsets her. It's a problem. Her stimming, her mom doing what makes her feel better makes her daughter feel worse.
Wow.
So she had to overcome that and stop stimming that way to help her daughter.
Wow.
And if that's not love, because it's real hard when you're autistic to not do something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so Zaylee's the one that told me about that. She was like, she can't bounce anymore. Like, because they both bounce. You know, I was like, yeah. So Zaylee can't bounce in front of her either. And so Zaylee would be like downstairs playing with her because the condo was 2 stories, and Zaylee would go upstairs and bounce for a minute because she needed to like
I need to unwind.
release all the energy. It was just, and I don't want to just concentrate on that because it was not all about a weekend of autism. There was just a lot more to it. But it was a really good girls' weekend. It was definitely a different kind of girls' weekend than I'm used to. I got so much rest, but we also walked. I wore them out. And we did all kinds of stuff. And I left a little bit of my brother in the Galveston Bay.
Nice.
I don't know that he'd appreciate it. He wasn't a big beach person. And I thought about that. I even text Bonnie.
But it's still a place. It's part of it's memories for you too. So
I have memories of him there.
Yeah, it's you taking him along your road that you're going, and you're you know. So
and I have a memory of him and I there, and it hits me every time I go there. Before he died, always it's my first memory of Galveston. And there are pictures somewhere that exist of this, and I don't know where they went after my mom died. I assume we gave them to my brother, and I assume he lost them because he lost everything. But maybe his daughters have the pictures. But we had gone to Galveston, and Zoel's about 4, and I'm about 2, and we are in a station wagon. I don't know whose because it wasn't ours. I just know because it's in the pictures. And Zoel's there, and, you know, we didn't have any money, so we're, like, in underwear. That's it. We don't have to bathing suits and shit. And so Zoel's in his underwear. I'm in my underwear. But Zoel's got on a cowboy hat and a holster with fake guns at the beach in the water.
of course. I'm surprised he didn't have his boots on still.
He did in the car. So we have pictures of him in his underwear with his holster, his boots, and his hat on the beach.
That's so awesome.
Because we apparently parked on the beach. I guess back then you could park right on the beach.
Could.
But now you don't see that so much. I did one time when I took Zoe when she was 16 and we got stuck. And I was driving an Altima. I don't really know what I was thinking, single mom life. And what single mom doesn't drive an Altima at some point? You're going to have a Civic or you're going to have an Altima. That's just how it works. And so we get stuck, and it's me and Zoe and 2 of her friends, and it's when Zoe's 15 or 16. I think it's her 16th birthday. Yeah, it is. It's her 16th birthday, so 10 years ago. And these guys come out of nowhere, like these like 25-year-old guys, and I'm in my 30s, you know, late 30s. And these like 20-something-year-old guys come out of nowhere. They're like, you stuck? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to figure. I wasn't too stuck, but I felt like I could get myself out. They were like, if you keep doing that, you're going to dig yourself further. Let us take care of it. And I was like, all right. And they got in my car, and they got around my car, and they got me out.
Nice.
Isn't that funny? Zoe brings it up. She was like, of course, Mom. Of course you found guys to show up and help you out of the beach.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah. So we had a great time. We walked around. I spent an ass load of money on stupid shit.
Well, that's vacation for you.
Yeah. We ate out, and I swear it was $100 every meal.
Yep. That's vacation for you too.
Yeah. And I barely drank anything because I was in charge of all these people. So we had a great time. I ate a lot of shrimp. Good time. It was fun. I'm glad that we went. We had a lovely time. I want to go to Florida, though.
Yeah, me too.
Or actually, I don't want to go to Florida. I want to go to Hawaii, but I don't think that's happening.
Florida first, okay? I want to go to Florida, too.
Baby steps. So that's what I did last weekend, and really, it wasn't about the beach. It was about the time with my sister-in-law, and I just felt very lucky to have her in my life and to still have her and have that relationship, because I don't really have a relationship with Rick's family. So it's cool I still got her.
Yeah.
You know.
Got to get your people where you can.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So that was my weekend. What did you do last weekend?
Last weekend, I don't even remember. I don't think I did anything.
We've switched roles lately. What's going on?
I haven't been wanting to do anything. I like to just chill, especially because it's so hot.
It's so
I don't
hot.
want to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's so hot. I understand. That's what Rick said the other day when I got home on Sunday. No, it was one day this week. I came home from work, and he likes to stay busy, so he will mow the lawn, and he enjoys stuff like that. Or he'll go ride his horses, or he'll go like work in the garage on something, leather work, or he likes to stay busy. And he or the other day I get home and I'm like, what are you doing? He was like, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. It's just too hot because he works in the heat all day. So he's already out there 10 hours on a roof.
Yeah, so it's the last thing you want to do when you get home.
Yeah. And so he was like, I feel useless. I don't have depression, but if I did, it'd be because of this. I want to do something. I want to do something fun. I said, well, do you want to like this weekend go to the lake? No, I want to do something fun right now. Like I want to ride a horse. I want to do cool shit. But it's too hot, so I'm going to go take a nap.
Well, that's good. That can be fun.
Yeah, so that's what he did.
Just turn it off.
Now, when I was out of town for how many weeks in a row? And so he was with me for one of those weekends. But I've been gone a lot from him. And I knew he was going to eventually get a little pissy, like, girl, when are you ever home? And so I kind of would be getting pissy at this point. That's a lot of weekends away from me. You don't want to hang out with me.
Yeah.
So I knew I was pushing the envelope. So he says, when I'm on the trip, I call him and talk to him for a second. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm at HEB. And it was Saturday night, like 7:30 at night, 8 o'clock. We go to bed at 7:30 or 8. Even on the trip, I was in bed by 8 every night. I was exhausted. I said, you're going to HEB? Yeah, I'm getting the groceries. I said, you're getting the groceries for the week without me. Because we always go together on Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. This is Saturday night. I said, you're going to get the groceries for the week? Yes. I said, okay, well, I hope you're prepared to cook those groceries. Because if you're going to pick what we have for dinner, then you're going to cook it. If you can't wait for me. He goes, okay. I said, all right. I get home, there's barely anything in the fridge. And now, granted, we weren't expecting to have any kids home. Zoel ended up coming home with me after all. So that was a surprise for him. So he wasn't prepared for Zoel. But he didn't buy any of the stuff that for kids to snack on. And there wasn't a ton of milk because neither of us are big milk drinkers. He didn't expect all these people. But I really didn't see what he bought to cook either. I was like trying to figure out what he was planning to cook and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, okay. So I get home Sunday and he's grilling and he's been grilling all day. And it was delicious, but that's not unusual for a Sunday. So then here comes Monday, I get home from work, and I don't even remember what he cooked, but he cooked something Monday, and it was good. And I was like, what's for dinner tomorrow? And so he's like, that you'll find out tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you.
You'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So it became this joke where I was like, well, what am I going to do with myself? Because if you cook, you clean. Because I always cook and clean. So I said, well, you're gonna do your dishes if you're gonna cook, because that's what I do. All right, I'll do that because I don't mess up that many dishes. He grilled everything. He did not cook inside except for maybe one side. And so he was like, all right, I'll do that. He made some delicious meals. He cooked all week except for Wednesday. That was the day he was bored and he was hot. Yeah. And he ordered pizza that day. Like he kind of had a day where he kind of felt defeated. Yeah. But the next day he came back and came in clutch. And so I was teasing him the whole week. I was like, oh, what's for dinner? Oh, you do those dishes. You better get on that. I didn't have to cook all week long. And then I'd be like, you're the best cook ever. You're the best dishwasher ever. You do all this. You should do this all the time because you're so good at this. And him and Madison, Madison, I always tease him. He's a gaslighter. Because he kind of is. Like, not really like about important things, but he likes to not communicate certain things. So we always say he's gaslighting. And so he won't say gaslighting. He calls it something different every time, but it's gaslighting. So he's like, oh, you're kamikazeing. Oh, you're rose pedaling. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. Oh, you're ballooning me up. Oh, you're hand washing. Oh, it's everything. You're Cherokee Nationing it. That was what he said the other day. I don't know. So now that's what he does all the time. So I'm like, you're the best ever. He goes, are you rose pedaling me? I was like, gaslighting you? Yeah, rose pedaling. I was like, no, babe, you're really the best at everything. You're the best cook. You're the best cleaner. You should do this every day. I really can't compete.
Well, see, that's why I don't do anything, so people don't make me do it.
Yeah, well, then I said, so what are you doing next week for dinner? He goes, nothing. That was enough.
That's one week and done, one and done.
Yeah, he wanted to prove to me that he could do it.
Yeah, well, that's good.
So that's what we did all this week, and he grilled every single meal. So there was that. And he did make sides, though. And that was an accomplishment because typically he's just going to throw some meat. Maybe you'll get potatoes.
Meat and potatoes.
Yeah. But he actually made more than one side every night, and it was a good thing.
Wow. You got spoiled.
Yeah, I did for the week. Yeah. I didn't stab him anything. It was good. It was a good week. And then he kept telling, and then he's like, once he decided he was on this, I'm going to cook and clean, he went and bought an O-Cedar mop, which I don't know if you're familiar, but Amy on the other podcast, she's always talking about the O-Cedar mop. She swears by it. She talks about it all the time.
Can't imagine loving a mop that much. I'm sorry.
Me either, but she does. And so I didn't even tell Rick all this, and he doesn't listen to the podcast because he's sick of hearing me talk. So, but he saw the O-Cedar mop at Home Depot and decided he needed it. So he bought the O-Cedar mop and came home and mopped the whole house, and he was so excited about it. And he called everybody that was home into the kitchen to learn how to mop.
Oh my gosh.
And all of us are totally rose pedaling him. We're like, you're the best mopper ever. You should do all the mopping in the house. We're prepared to let you be the mopper. He was like, I hate y'all.
Wow.
So, yeah, I told when I put on Facebook that we weren't doing an episode this week, one of the listeners was like, she said, so no Rick stories? And I was like, I got some. Just hang on.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Yeah, they're coming.
I've been having some problem. My car, the coolant fan on it, like the fan that cools the engine or whatever, is like on the fritz.
Oh, no.
So I can drive it, and as long as I'm like driving or like going on the highway or something like that,
But if
it's
you
fine.
stop-
Yeah, but when I stop or if it's in like just stalling or whatever, it starts heating up. And the only way that I can regulate it is to run the heat. So I have not been wanting to drive my car, and so that was the only way for me to come into town recently because, you know, if not, you know, Dante has the other vehicle and another one. So I'm like, so coming into town to record has just not been on my list of things that I want to do.
No, I don't blame you. That's
but
insane.
it's going into the shop on Monday, so it'll get fixed.
Yeah, forget that. It's 105 with the heat on. Oh, my
like,
God.
No, it's not something I want to do.
No, I would never drive anywhere. There's no buses out here.
For real.
No.
I wish there were, man. I would totally take advantage of some buses, but no, there's not.
Yeah, no, we don't have any buses out here. What else do we got? What else do we have to talk about?
Another question was what we still wanted to fit into summer. Because
Well, summer ends for my kid this week, so there's not a lot to
I know, but
fit into
summer doesn't end.
It does
Summer in
not.
Texas is still like October.
I would like another weekend or two at the cabin.
Me too. We really need to make that happen.
Yeah,
and
and
Sunday's been in my messages being like, "Hey, girl."
And you know who else asked? Connie.
Oh yeah.
I messaged Connie. If you listened to a podcast before, I mean, a lot. What was Connie on this podcast or the one with Al?
I don't know.
I had her as a guest on one.
I
of
don't
them.
think that she was on this one.
Okay, then it was the one with Al. I brought her in. She was a guest on one of them. I mean, I'm talking like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would have been with the one with Al.
Yeah.
So Connie's one of our friends, and she's a flight attendant. And
Living her best life.
I've never invited her on a girls' weekend because she's flying.
she's been really busy.
Yes, and so I reached out to her the other day about something else, and she reached back. She was like, "Hey, I don't want to be rude and ask, but I'm going to be rude and ask. What's it going to take for me to go on a girls' weekend?" I said, "I guess it's going to take you taking off. Like I don't know. I've thought of inviting. We've talked about her before coming, and I was like, but I just didn't. You know, we do a lot of like fly by the seat of our pants on the girls' weekends. Yes." But we need to plan one so Connie can come because she wants to go. So I had already thought about this. I think we need a weekend where it's like Connie, Sunday, that group. Mm-hmm. And then I think, because there's just too many that we want to bring. And then I think there needs to be another one of the OG group.
Yeah.
And we do some songwriting.
Well, we need to get it in, make it happen.
So that's the goal. That's what I want to do this summer. That's what I want to fit into this summer.
I'm right there with you.
Okay, good. That's what we're going to do.
I really want more swim time, but it's just impossible to find places that aren't.
I found it.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go back, and I got 2 swimming holes that are in rivers.
Oh, yeah.
But
you told
they're
me about
in
the natural springs.
Yes.
That's what I want to be a
cold.
part of that.
So we're going to do that.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Oh, I just lost the lid in my
Oh,
champagne.
my gosh, girl.
Listen, the podcast is only so long, and I've got to
You got to finish
this
that
bottle
champagne bottle, girl.
because this is how you start a Saturday morning. Yeah. So I had a wreck about 2.5 years ago, and I totaled my favorite vehicle I've ever owned, which was my 2018 Ford F-150. And it was, I believe it was ruled as non-fault. I don't think they put it on either one of us. But I got served papers today that I'm being sued over it.
What?
Why did it take her so long? I don't know. But whatever, I understand. I don't know what her insurance situation is. Maybe she doesn't have insurance. I don't know. I was kind of surprised it took so long.
Yeah. How can you be served papers if she was driving with no insurance?
Well, I don't know that she was. I don't know what happened. She didn't talk to me. When the accident happened, she was much older than me and in a smaller vehicle. So I jumped out to check on her. I didn't care about anything else. I wanted to make sure this woman was okay. Mm-hmm. So I jumped out of my vehicle the fastest I could. And this is I totaled my F-150. It was a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
And So I immediately jumped out to check on the lady, and I got to her vehicle, and I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And she cussed me out and screamed at me. And I walked away. She didn't want me near her. She was like, call 911. Well, I already had 911. I was dialing them. I was running over there, so I was already doing that.
Yeah.
But I never spoke to her. She was cussing at me and screaming at me and not happy about me. And they asked me what happened, and I told them, and it was what it was. And obviously no one wants to get in a wreck. And I understand. I don't know her circumstance. So I don't, I can't, I'm not going to throw, wrecks suck.
Yeah, they do.
And it was in the middle of COVID. So getting a replacement vehicle was a son of a bitch for me to find one that was near as nice as what I had because they had jacked the prices all up. So, maybe she went through the same thing and she's frustrated. I got less of a vehicle out of the end of it, But that's how I started my morning. That was literally, I was 5 minutes late meeting you. They told me just hand it to my insurance company. The paperwork even said, basically they're suing my insurance company via me. And I have good insurance and I'm with the same insurance company. So I'm just going to hand it over on Monday and be like, y'all tell me what I need to do.
Yeah. Handle this,
please. But it didn't start my day off right. So I decided I needed a bottle of champagne to make my day better. And I'm going to see Barbie.
Baby steps. It's going to get there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. If one thing won't help, the other will. I'm sure
that's what I'm saying. But, teach your own.
I'm so excited.
Life happens.
I love going to the movies. I can't wait to go get some popcorn.
I was really hoping they had the Barbie box to take the picture in.
But our movie, so I went
They don't. I
went to our movie theater the other day because we took some of the kids to go see a movie for like the last day. And I have to say, I was very underwhelmed with their Barbie setup.
I saw pictures of people I knew that went to see it, and the picture was like a cardboard cutout you hold up. I want the box.
Yeah, I know. But I knew we weren't going to get the. But Waxahachie's a pretty big. That's a big, nice new theater. They just
I was
redid
surprised. You got a bowling alley.
I was very underwhelmed with their setup for the Barbie.
I'm very disappointed in that.
I was like, who did this, and why did somebody sign off on it? I would have rather them do nothing.
You can buy one of those boxes.
Yeah.
I'm debated on it.
We need to have a Barbie party.
But what if we had a Barbie box and we just kept it at the cabin and we took funny pictures every time?
Yes, that'd be fun.
I'm just saying, it's not a bad idea.
I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a bad idea is all I can say.
It's not.
So anything else what you got? We don't have any emails. Kelly was very upset.
I wasn't very upset.
Disappointed.
I was just a little because it has been I've go into and I actually had one. So I was like, I was so used to having that nice little, an email. And then this time it just wasn't there. So I was like, oh, but it's okay. I still love you guys. I know y'all love us. And I just, Well,
I know everybody's traveling because I'm living through everybody's pictures. And it's funny because now I have a lot of listeners that are on my page. It's my personal page. When you have a business page, you can't see the people that follow you. Like I can click on their name when they comment and I can see their profile, but you're not gonna, you can't see all your followers. You just see you have so many followers, I guess is the best way to put it. So unless they comment, you're not gonna know who to look at.
Yeah.
And, but this is my real page. This is my personal page. So I get to see their post like that. They wouldn't be part of my feed if it was a business page, but now they're part of my feed. And so there's some of them that I follow and I feel like I know them.
Yeah.
And I'll be like,
friends.
but I have so many friends from over the years that have popped up and some of them get married and their last names change and I don't catch it always. That I'll see the first name. I'll be like, who is this? Who is this person?
Who are you? So
I click on their page to see, because it'll be funny. It'll be something funny or something cute or sweet or, or a great picture or whatever. And I'll be like, who is this? A listener? Is this a friend of mine? Who is this? And so I'll click on them. And our listeners are just so all different.
Yes, I love it.
It's men and women, but it is majority women. They're all different ages, and they're all different from all over the country. All different walks of life, and I love it. I love looking at what they have going on in their lives. And one the other day had posted that they had lost their son. I don't remember how many years ago. I think 13 years ago that day. It was the anniversary of their son. It was either would have been his birthday or it would have been the day he passed. I don't remember which one it was. And that's one where I was like, who is this? Is this a listener or is this one I know? It was a listener. Because, I have to double check the last name, then I look at the picture. And it was a listener. And I just thought, well, how cool did they feel comfortable adding me to see that personal moment?
Yeah.
And I really think about it. So I don't want them to think, I don't just ignore y'all's post. I don't always interact because I have so many people that it just blows up my thing. If I interact, I get a lot of comments and then I have to, I can't keep up.
Yeah.
And it gets so bad.
I feel bad when I can't keep up.
Yeah. And it gets so bad that sometimes it'll be like 2 days before it even shows up on my comments. I don't know why. And it'll show up like it happened 2 days ago. And it's just now showing up on my little feed to look at it.
I think the network gets too much.
I think I broke it.
You broke Facebook.
Yeah. I don't know. And so just so y'all know, I really do look and I really do enjoy it. And when I went there, I just didn't take enough pictures. I've really gotten bad at taking pictures lately. And like the ones I posted from Galveston, I didn't take any of them. Like Susan took them all. Like I didn't even know she took them. And I was like, damn, I'm glad she took some pictures because I didn't take hardly anything. And I bought this new phone with this great camera and I never use it.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Yeah. And so whenever I brought my cap that we got from Crawfish Cove. Is that the name of Crawfish Cove? You know, she gave me that cute little hat. So I brought that and I'm like, I'm going to wear this hat and I'm going to take a picture of my hat. And I did wear it. I did not take a picture. My sister-in-law wore it one day too because she forgot to bring a hat. So the hat was used. I just want it's been to Galveston. We advertise for you all up and down the beach of Galveston. If anyone in Crawfish, they know where to go if they're going to East Texas. I meant to take a picture. Crawfish. It was really good. And it was a cute little setup.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And my old coworker moved to that area and went there a few times once they moved. And they were like, it's really good. I was like, I know. And she's so nice.
Yeah. That was fun.
So we do.
Anybody else has some businesses around the area you would like us to come check them out? Just shoot us an email.
An email?
At 2 Sides in the Truth podcast.
At outlook.com.
I'm like, what was I getting?
She was like, I forgot the damn email.
That's a first.
Yeah. Oops. So another thing that I wanted to talk about was I have someone close to me that has, that has recently become sick. They've been diagnosed with something that's not great. And I'm not even discuss this with you. And I'm not going to go into detail because I'm not putting people's medical information out there. But and they're about my age. And they were very close to my brother as well. And it's really made me like miss my brother. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else to put it, but like watching someone else suffer that they loved, that I love too, that I know that my brother would be like, I don't know if supporting is the right word, but my brother would be all in taking care of this person. Yeah. And it's a family member of mine. And so watching, all I can think is to think through my brother and what he would do. And he wasn't like, my brother was an asshole, first off. Like, and I mean that with love. Obviously, I like assholes because Rick's an asshole too. Yeah. They loved each other.
You have a thing for assholes.
I do. They were best friends. I tell Rick all the time that Zoe prepared me for you, just like Susan prepared me for Zaylee. Zoe prepared me for Rick because they had the same personality. Everything is quick-witted. Everything's smart-ass. It's just their personality, so you get prepared for it, And, but Zoe and Rick are very kind, loving people at heart. Like, Rick does things that I'm like, he goes and he like mows his old dead neighbor's plot that he barely knew because he loved their parents. Like, like he does stuff like that. He doesn't tell anyone. The parents don't know he does it. Mm-hmm. This is for him, for them. He just wants them to know someone cares about them. They don't have any clue it's Rick. They're not neighbors anymore. It's just what he does. And Zoe was a lot like that too. Zoe would do little sweet things where you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. Well, this is where I am now with this. So as this is, I can't turn it off. All I can think is, what can I do? What would Zoe do? I don't know what he would do, because what he would do would be an asshole to anyone else, but to them, they'd be like, oh, that's Zoe being caring. Does this make sense? Yeah. Like, I don't know how to show my same appreciation and love for the person and support for the person the way Zoe would, but that's how I want to filter it. That's all I can think is, this is what would Zoe do? What would Zoe do? And every time I think of something he would do, it's kind of an asshole thing. But from him, it was charming.
Yeah. How do they do that?
Well, yeah. That's exactly. How do they do that so well? I don't know if that makes sense. So I've really been challenged with it. So the last week it has consumed me. I'm just like, what can I do better? How can I be a better, supporter of this person? What can I do to show my love for this person? How can I, and it made me realize that I need to be more present for some of my family events because
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm the outsider of the family, but I am. My sister and I probably are the outsiders of the family because we live in Dallas and they all live in Central Texas or Houston. So they have and far West Texas. So there's like a group of them in far West Texas. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 of them. And then there's like 20 of them in San Saba area. And then there's like 10 of them in Houston area or more. There's more than that, but you know what I mean? Those are the three. That's where you live. If you're my family, that's where you live. Unless you're me or my sister. We're in the Dallas area. Because my mom had to marry someone from Ellis County. And so we're kind of disconnected from our family. And so I don't show up for every reunion. And I don't show up for every event. And I don't show up. I just don't show up. Mm-hmm. I don't expect them to show up to my things. I don't think to invite them to my things. Right. Not because I don't want them. I just know that they have to travel more. And that's a lot, if that makes sense. So I've just decided I'm going to focus more. That is what my goal is over the next year, is to be more present in my family events, and to show up more because time's ticking.
It is. It just keeps on.
It does.
Keeps on going.
And so I missed my family reunion this year, and I did feel bad about that. Well, now my cousins are having a girls' weekend to celebrate my cousin Zane's 50th birthday, which is next weekend, which is, I think it's next weekend, yeah, which is also Rick's birthday and Zaylee's birthday. So I was like, no, I can't go. It's Rick and Zaylee's birthday. I'm not going to go. Like, I can't miss my daughter's 18th birthday and miss Rick's birthday on the same weekend to go to someone else's birthday. But this has really put it into perspective. Yeah. So I talked to both of them. They're like, you need to go. You need to go. I think they've already made the plan, so it might be too late for me to go. But I am going to be more present.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's what's happening, basically.
That's good.
So that's my takeaway from, I guess, this summer. You said, what do you want to do this summer? Mm-hmm. That's when I want to make my goal this year. Last year, it was to be more aware of my financial status. That didn't work, by the way. I went fucking stupid this year. Didn't really try that hard. I bought a planner, okay, y'all? I didn't follow it. I spent more money than usual.
Step one.
I traveled so much.
You bought a planner, but that's the only step that you took.
I kept saying I just want to know where my money's going. I know where my money's going. Yeah, it's gas.
Oh, okay, yeah,
to drive
for sure
to Hill Country every weekend.
Yep,
and it was worth every damn cent.
Yeah, well there you go.
But I should probably drive a little further than the cabin by about 20 miles and actually visit family members on occasion.
It's true.
I just feel like I'm impeding. And I'm not. They want to see me.
Your family.
I'm being stupid. I just feel like I'm bugging them.
You're not.
But they're probably looking at me and like, that bitch is 5 minutes away and isn't calling us.
It's true.
I am that bitch. I am doing that. So I think that's my goal, is to focus more on being more present for my family so they can be more present for me.
Yes.
Like they've tried. They show up for my events. Like they came to my wedding, which was in Dallas. That was, a trip for everybody. Everybody showed up. Everybody freaking came for that 27 years ago. Do I go to everybody's wedding? No, I've barely been to anybody's wedding. I'm the worst.
Well, here we can be better.
I'm going to be better. So that is my goal. I'm going to be better. I'm going to show up more for my family. I love my family. I think they're awesome. I absolutely adore them. They're wild. They're crazy. They do some things that I wouldn't do sometimes, but I do the same.
That's true.
So
goes both ways.
Yeah. So that's what I'm focusing on.
That's good. I want to focus on the same thing too, because I let traveling, even my family doesn't even live that much far away, but it is a couple of hours. And to me, that's a lot. I can't travel that far. I don't like driving anyways. I don't even like driving into Waxahachie to go to work. And that's only like 30 minutes. And when it gets anything further than that, it's like my brain will just doesn't think about it. It shuts it off. So unless my sister is going out to see my family or something like that, I don't go because I'm not going to drive that far. Right. Sometimes Dante will take me out there, but I want to be able to.
I'm not worried about going to see my dad because I have to drive through Dallas, and I've just gotten to the point that driving through Dallas makes me anxious.
I know. I just shut it out because I'm just like, no, they're too far. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I can.
Yeah. I think it's important.
Yeah.
And
I know that when there's going to be a time where I don't even have that option anymore. And I'm going to be like, I would drive through anything to go and see them if I could see them again.
Yes.
So
yes,
I need to make that.
It was funny because yesterday, it was yesterday. Bonnie, my sister-in-law, posted a picture of DJ, my step-grandmother. And it was this really cool picture. I'm going to guess the early 70s. And her hair's like in this bouffant 60s looking thing. So it could have been the 60s, but I'm going to guess they're like 72. And it's just a picture of her face. She looks beautiful. And she posted the picture, and I looked at the picture, and it made me think all these things. Like I just went back to thinking how I always thought she was so well put together And I thought she was such a cool woman. And I always just found her to be just very, I mean, I've told you this a million times. She was just very well put together. She was eloquent. She was well educated. She spoke so well. And I really looked up to her. And I just thought she was better than me, not better than me, but like a higher class.
Yeah. She was just out of your league.
She was out of my class league, you know? And so I'm thinking all these things that I put on Bonnie's post. I'm like, I love this picture. I always thought she was always so well put together or something like that. And then after I'm thinking about it, overthinking about it, I'm like, God, that might upset my grandmother because this is my step grandma. And then I'm like, my grandmother's dead. I'm literally worried about my grandmother's feelings about what I'm thinking about my dead step grandmother, how that would affect my dead real grandmother.
Yeah, I definitely thinking a little bit too much.
A little bit too much. I even laughed at myself. I was like, you're so stupid. I don't even care if my kids say that about their current stepmother. I'm like, she is great. You're right.
Yeah.
Like, why would and my grandmother and my step grandmother had a great relationship. Like my grandfather died years ago. So my step grandmother was the one showing up the last 20 years to all my events to represent my grandfather. And my grandmother was there and they would hang out. I'm not going to say they were best friends, but they didn't have a problem with each
That's
other.
good.
So this was only in my head, overthinking it, stupid. Isn't that funny how we do that?
Yeah.
Like,
That's called being a woman.
These guys just walked by. We're in the corner of the restaurant with big windows.
We're right by big windows, and people are constantly walking by, seeing us talking with our headphones into these mics, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah, what is going on? Well, there's two guys. Kelly can't see the window I'm looking at.
I'm purposely facing away from it.
So there's two guys walk by, and the first one looks, and then I guess he realizes what he's looking at, that we have headsets on and a microphone. He's probably thinking, oh, they're recording something. So he kind of like stopped, I guess, to kind of take it all in. And then the other guy didn't stop. And so he like ran into the back of him and they both kind of fell. And then they looked at me and then they took off. And he missed all of that.
I love it.
And I'm over here watching him. And I know he saw me watching him.
Yeah.
So that made me laugh.
Great
Anyways,
stuff.
we made it through another hour, and I'm pouring. Look, I did not finish.
You didn't. I thought that maybe you would, but you did not finish your
did
champagne.
you see that? I just poured the champagne, and it bubbled up, but it did not go over because I'm the queen of it going over.
Yeah. So we're gonna make this a little bit longer because I have been waiting to share this, and the last couple of times I have forgotten to bring this. It's another poem that I got out of my vault of poems. So I'm going to let Zada take a break and drink some of her champagne since she's got to finish it before we leave to go to the movies. And I'm going to give y'all my poem. A little backstory first. This is, again, a poem that I wrote a long time ago because I wrote this poem after I broke up with my very first boyfriend. So my very first boyfriend, I met him when I was 13 years old. I was almost 14, but I was still 13 at the time, and I was not allowed to date. So he was 15, and he had a hardship license.
That's trouble.
I was just all about him. Of course, my parents from the get-go were like, oh my gosh, no, we're not. But we didn't date. We just talked, and we were friends for a while. And then once I was like 14 and a half, wasn't 15 yet, but they let us go ahead and start dating, but we couldn't do dates by ourselves, like only chaperone stuff. But then we ended up dating. I dated him until I was 20, I think. But about a year into dating, he cheated on me. And
you caught him, or did you find out later?
He told me. Oh. This was like right after it happened, the day after it happened, he told me about it. Like he came and he met up with me and he told me what happened. So he made me feel like, oh, he was doing the right thing and that I should forgive him and that all this stuff. And
he was rose pedaling you?
He was rose pedaling me, Cherokee nationing me, whatever. Yeah, definitely did. But at the time, I was like very young and stupid, and he was my first love, and like that's just so. Anyways, he ended up during that entire time cheating on me 2 more times with 2 other girls that I know of. There was definitely like 10 more. I'm sure it was a lot more than that, but those are the ones I know of. So I wrote this poem, but I wrote this poem after the first breakup because I broke up with him after he told me that he cheated on me. I broke up with him.
You are such a different woman now. I'm just going to put that out there, and I'm really proud of you because there's no damn way.
No.
You would have.
If I think you're cheating on me now, bye.
Yeah. If I think you dreamed about cheating on me.
I don't even need any kind of proof. Just bye.
Bye. Yeah.
But so I wrote this right after I broke up with him, and I've had it for a very long time. It's one of my things that I have kept, one of the poems that I have kept, because it reminds me that, you know, you need to follow your heart. You don't need to let people rose petal you. You need to make sure that when you're done wrong, that you can use that as a reason to leave. Like, you do not have to stay in a situation that you're unhappy and you're not being treated correctly. Like, you need to just get out. So this is the point. So it says, the days slowly unwind and I can't retake what's mine. A quiver in your voice and I'm left with a choice to break and let it fall, let go of it all, or stay and pray that somehow, someday I'll learn to forgive. And time's not healing me. Time is killing me slowly, so slowly. Do you think we can rewind and make up for broken time? Baby, please tell me why. I haven't told a soul. I don't want them to know that I could love someone who'd do what you've done. You thought it for the best and dismissed all the rest. Tell me, did you plan on this? Was she worth it? And time is not healing me. Time is killing me slowly, so slowly. Do you think we can rewind and make up for broken time? Baby, please tell me why.
That would songwriter Zada thinks that'd be a good song. Normal Zada can't imagine you feeling that way now. And so this is a really good lesson about young love. Yeah. And when your mom tells you,
oh my gosh, this is one of the things. My mom was definitely, because they fought me tooth and nail over this boy. I ended up moving out of my house at 17 years old and moving in with my aunt because I was fighting against my parents, and they got to the point they were like, we are not going to allow you to see him. We are not going to allow you to date him. You are not going to be in this relationship with this guy and be in this household. So I was like, okay, fine. I won't be in this household. And so I left. And that was just...
And how old were you, 17?
I was 17 at that time.
And where were you living?
I was with my mom and dad, and it was here in Waxahachie.
Okay.
But I left and moved in with my aunt, and because they were like, you can't be in this household. We're not going to support this relationship. So I was like, fine, I'm leaving.
That's kind of what happened with me and my ex-husband and my mom. Now, granted, there were more extenuating circumstances. My mom was not necessarily behaving herself, but he is the one that convinced me to move out and move in with my dad and leave everything I knew.
Yeah.
Bad decision.
Yeah, it was a bad decision.
And not that I love my dad. But I didn't need to be running from my life.
No, I let him put a big wedge between me and my parents for a really long time.
Don't you wish we could I wish, what does it take to teach these girls?
I don't, and see, the thing is, I don't think that you can. I think when somebody is so young and so dead set on what they think is love and what they think is best for them, there really is no talking it out of them, because they weren't even being like horrible to me and like, oh, no, you can't. They were being very just like, you need to look at this. You need to look at the situation.
This is a problem.
Look at his track record. Look at what he's doing to you. This is not healthy. Like, you're gonna look back and regret this. They were giving me all the right information, but there was no way I was going to take that because I was so in love with this boy.
Same. And so I always exercise with my children to stay out of it, because I swear I wouldn't have gotten married if my mom had shut her mouth.
That's true. I think that if they weren't pushing it, if they weren't in it so much and I didn't feel like I was having to prove them wrong, then maybe I would have.
But as a mom now, and I've been through this with a child or two, it's really hard to close your mouth.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
Because you're just like, holy shit, and like every time that it's bit a kid of mine on the ass, I'm like, I'm not trying to say I was right. I was right. What I am saying though is, next time, can you trust me a little more?
Give me a little bit more trust.
Just give me more credit than that, because no one is more protective and caring of you than me. Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you,
it's so hard as a parent.
Whenever I left my ex-husband, I left him because I figured out he was cheating on me. And after we had been separated for a few months, he was trying really hard to, he was going to counseling without me, but just for himself, which is great. You want to make yourself a better person than I.
Hopefully the next woman can enjoy that.
But it's not funny, but my parents were wanting us to figure it out and stay together and not get divorced.
Because you were married.
And I was like, no.
Nope.
I'm sorry, but I've already learned my lesson when it comes to this. And y'all did not want me staying with I'm not going to say his name, but y'all did not want me staying with him. Y'all were 100% against it. They're like, you're not going to be with somebody he treats you like this. Yeah. So I'm continuing with that advice, and I'm putting it back in your faces. I'm not going to be with somebody who treats me like this. I do not care that he is my husband. If my husband is going to cheat on me, he will do it again.
Yes.
So no, I'm sorry. That negates. We're not going to.
Isn't that funny? And now, what do they think about it now?
Well, they're fine with it. They don't. Yeah. They're so in love with Dante that they're like, they don't care.
Whenever I got divorced, my mom hated my ex-husband, and I mean from day one. And do I blame her? No, I was 16 and he was 21.
Yeah.
You can...
Huge red flag.
I'm not going to say grooming, but schmooming.
But yes.
And there was a lot of stuff that was, I would kill a motherfucker. If I was...
Right.
If I was my daughter, I'd kill a motherfucker. Mm-hmm. And it was bad. And now I see that. Yeah. So my mom hated him, and she had every right to. Oh, yeah. And everything she did, I now understand. As a mother, like I get it now. I didn't get it then. I get it now. And I like to say we wouldn't have stayed together if she'd shut up. But there's no way she could have shut up.
Yeah.
There's no way. I put her in an impossible position. And so I get that now. And so as a parent, it's hard. When I got divorced, I had 4 children. We've been together about 20 years at this point. Married, I think 11 or 12. But together, like 10, 20-ish years. 18, I think. And when I called my mom, and I was already well on the way to divorce. I'd kicked him out. He was at his parents' house. I was on my own. I called her. I said, I didn't tell anyone until I'd already told him to get out, and he was out. I said, Mom, I'm getting divorced. I've asked him to move out. He's moved out. This is what's going on. My mom says, you better fix it. That is your husband. That is the father of your children. You do not. My mom married 9 times.
Nope. Sorry.
I said, you've been married 9 times. I said, and she said, and you've been through how many divorces with me? Do you not know how hard that was? Don't put yourself through that. Suck it up.
Nope.
I divorced him anyways.
Nope. Sorry. Mm-mm.
So fast forward to years later, and I dated all these men, and I had all these. I dated some wonderful men. They just weren't the right men for me. But I dated some good men. They just weren't the right men for me. And I meet Rick, and I'm like, this is the man she always wanted me with. That is her type of man. For all his masculine asshole ways, that's the type of men my mom was most attracted to. When she divorced my dad, I asked her years later why they divorced, because I was a baby when they divorced. They were separated when they conceived me. I have no memory of my parents together. But I asked her years later, as an adult, why did y'all divorce? And she said he didn't like to fight, and I like to fight. I'm not kidding.
I don't think that you are.
And I don't like to fight.
I do not either. That's why I'm so glad that me and Dante, we've never had a fight. I'm so glad that man does not like to fight.
I don't like to fight either. I do like to put my words out there, and I will stand up for myself, but I don't want to fight out of it. I want you to recognize my concern and handle it, and vice versa.
We did not fight at all.
And my mom liked to fight, and she was like, he would never put up a fight. And I see that. My dad's just not a fighter. He's just not.
No, he's not.
He's a big teddy bear.
Not a fighter.
He is a big ass teddy bear. And they just weren't the right people for each other. And so when I met Rick and I started dating Rick, I was dating him about a year before my mom died, but she never met him because she was very sick that whole year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, she died. And so I would talk about him. I'd tell her about him, whatever. And she was like, I'm glad you got a divorce. I'm glad you're meeting a man that's a man. I'm glad you get to see what a man should be.
That's good.
Now make him marry you. I was like, I'm not really looking for a husband, though.
Just slow down a little bit there.
I just want to have him over on Friday night. Like, I want to, I want to wake up to him on Saturday, but then I want him to leave. My mom thought that was so funny. In the end, my mom and I had a great relationship, and I could tell her whatever. And I would tell her, no, Mom, I don't know that I'm ever going to get married again. My mom was married 9 times. She was a big believer in marriage in particular.
Yeah.
And she was like, you're getting married again. You're going to stay married to this one. And you need to marry the cowboy. Where are we married yet? It's been 11 years. We're still not fucking married. We're fine.
Still dragging our feet over there.
I mean, whatever happens, happens. That's nothing important to me, but to my mom it was. But once I met Rick and she saw me with a man's man that takes care of things, she was like, you see what I mean? Do you have to mow a yard? No, you don't. No, you don't. You shouldn't.
Nope.
Yeah. But I would put up with that shit, man. I was mowing yards when I was pregnant. I won't get over that now. I'm still pissed. And it's been 20 3 years.
Still pissed about that.
I'll never forget that day as I was mowing as I was pregnant, and my next door neighbor was also pregnant, and she was mowing, and we looked at each other and made this eye contact like, fuck these motherfuckers.
Right?
It's been 23 years, and I remember that eye contact. I don't remember her name.
So much said.
I remember her kid's name was Luke. That's all I remember.
Oh, my God.
I'm still pissed for her and me. I wonder if they're still married.
Hopefully not. Let's hope that they're not.
Nah, they had a lot of kids.
Not. Oh, and we're talking about, not fighting and Dante being so super cool. They reminded me of this conversation I just had last night, so I have to say it.
Okay.
So I told him, I was like, I threatened one of my coworkers today, and he didn't even look at me. He was just like, yeah. I was like, well, it wasn't really a threat. It was more of just like a warning, but I guess it could have been taken as a threat. I told him that I had a knife on me. So really that's more of a warning. I wasn't like saying I was going to stab him. I was just warning him that he did have a knife on me.
It was a courtesy warning.
I said, but I told my boss that I warned him. So, I mean, I really can't get in trouble for it. And he doesn't say anything. I'm like, you're not going to ask me anything about that? He's like, no, baby, sitting here saying, you told me you had a knife. You handled it. I don't know nothing about that situation.
I'm not going to be a witness.
He does not. That's just how cool he is. He's like, he knows that I'm going to handle it. He didn't have anything to worry about. Unless I say jump, he's not going to do anything. So then I was like, no, but I want to tell you. So he's like, okay, fine. So I'm going to explain it a little bit. So we were having a glow party. We put up black lights in the gym, and I put up a bunch of stuff that glows in the dark, and like the kids come in and they get highlighters so they can draw on themselves and glow, and I give them glow bracelets. So, but the lights are turned off though. So but you can still see, obviously it's light enough in the see, but it's, darker. So I'm standing right by the door because the kids are coming in and I'm giving them their bracelets. So the kids all come in, and then, the teachers come in behind them, like the staff members. So we have this one staff member, and he stands by me like he's like touching me. Like he's like shoulder to shoulder with me, touching my body.
Yeah, no.
And I'm already like, I understand a little bit because I'm literally standing right by the door so that the kids could see me coming in, and I'm putting their bracelets on. So I understand that we were close quarters, but there's no reason for you to remain standing there. You know what I mean? So I'm giving him a couple of seconds to continue moving on or to move away from me, but he doesn't. And then he starts hitting my leg with his hand.
No.
I'm in a dress too, because it's Friday, so I'm dressed up. And so he's like nudging my leg, like hitting me, like he's trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
But he's standing shoulder to shoulder. His whole body is touching my entire body length. And then he's like nudging me on my leg with his hand. And I just look over and I'm like, I have a knife on me. And he's like, and so he kind of like scoots over.
And he moved.
And I'm putting a bracelet on a kid as I'm saying this. And she looks up at me, she goes, Miss Kelly. I was like, well, I do. I was like, I always have a knife on me. And so of course he's moving away from me then. And so the kids are like, oh yeah, Miss Kelly has a knife on her.
She gonna cut you. She gonna cut you, bitch.
But then I go and tell my boss. So I'm like, well, I did that. That wasn't a threat. It was just
letting him know.
Just letting you know.
We watched last night. We went to dinner and we came home, and we never watch TV, but he's watching Yellowstone again because we have nothing to watch. He's got, I've never watched all the Yellowstones, but he has. And for those of you that are just now listening, Rick is what's his name on the show? Now I've gone blank. The cowboy. I've gone blank.
I don't know. I don't watch it.
I don't need the main cowboy, the cute one. The black felt cowboy. Rip. Okay, Rick is Rip. They dress just alike. They act just alike. It's like they made a character after him. And obviously Rick existed before the show. Everybody for years, especially when the show comes out, is like, holy shit, they made Rip is Rick. Like everyone who watches the show contacts Rick or me. And they're like, you're dating Rip or you're. And I hear mixed things.
Their names are so similar too.
And I hear mixed things about like, and you're just like her, but I'm not. She's way crazier than I am. She's a bad bitch. I mean, I'm a bad bitch in a little bit different way. And my daughter watched it recently for the first time. She was like, I never realized how much he really is like Rip. And I thought you weren't like her until this one episode where she fucked this bitch up. And I thought, my mom would do that. And I started laughing. And I hadn't seen the episode because I don't watch TV. Well, last night Rick is watching. He's going through the whole series again. Oh. And so if I'm in the room, I'll watch a little bit of it. We're going long, y'all, but you didn't get an episode last week. So
we're making up for it.
Break it up the best you can. You make 2 listening sessions. So We go to dinner. We come back. We go to dinner, and he got dressed first, and he put his like fancy boots on, his ostrich.
His fancy boots.
And I know when he puts his fancy boots on, I need to put my fancy things on too. So I get all dressed up, and I'm all dressed up. I look cute as can be. And I come down, and my hair's curled, my makeup's on. I got this cute little dress on. I got these cute little shoes on. He goes, "Why are you so dressed up?" I said, "Because you put your fancy boots on." He goes, "Well, where are we going that's fancy?" I was like, "We can go to fucking the taco place on the corner. I don't care. We got a match. We got to look like we're going to the same party.
We're going to that same taco place."
So he's laughing about it, and he goes, "Where do you want to go?" So we talked about a few places. I was like, "I want a margarita." So we go to this Mexican place, and his buddies are in there. We don't know that. And we walk in. There's this... I'm not going to say this in front of him, but we walk in through the door, and I got there first because he let me out to go get us a table, and he went and parked. So I walk in, and the bar turns and looks at me, and it's like 5 guys, and they're looking at me, and I don't know them. I don't know his friends that are there. I know who they are. When he said who they were, I knew who they were, but I've never like met them.
Yeah.
And so he's like, they all turned and looked. I mean, I looked a little extra cute. And so then Rick walks in. He's like, yeah. And they're like, yeah. They're all excited.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, Rick, who doesn't drink much, is taking shots at the bar with his buddies because they bought him shots. They're talking business. They're all roofers, you know. So we go to sit down. We have dinner. It's wonderful. We go home. We get ready for bed. We lay down and watch TV, and he's going to start watching Yellowstone. Again, we rarely watch TV. I especially rarely watch TV. So he starts watching Yellowstone. Well, I've seen this clip because so many people have sent it to me and been like, "This is you and Rick. This is you and Rick." I've had it sent to me so many times. And so as soon as the beginning of that scene came on, I said, "Oh, I've seen this scene because people keep sending it to me." And he didn't remember this scene. Like, I guess it was a few years ago they posted it, or maybe he missed this episode. And it's where they go to a bar to celebrate something, and it's all the cowboys, and they get into a big bar fight because a woman hits on Rip. And she said, he's like, "Talk to my wife." And she goes over to the wife and says something to her. And suddenly you see the wife, which is Beth, break a bottle over her head. And the next thing you know, it's a big ass fight. And it's just really funny. It's like an old school Rocket Cafe fight. Like when I met Rick and he was in the bar fights.
Yeah.
It was exactly how Rick and I met. There was always a bar fight, and we were running from the law. I'm not kidding. This is legit. I laugh all the time at this. This is my outlaw. The worst of my outlaw days, the end of his, he was calming down. So like, this is the only time we aligned on the outlaw stage. And so I laughed because it was so us. Well, I never knew what she said to her. I just thought she walked up to her and said, you know, she saw her hit on her husband and then her beeline to her. This is the first time I've actually watched it where I heard what she said. And what she said was, "I'm taking your husband home tonight and you can come with us and watch."
Nope.
Bitch fucked her up.
Sorry about that.
That was the scene Zoe watched.
Those are fighting words right there.
Those are fighting words.
That's saying break a bottle over my head.
Right.
If anything ever has.
Exactly. So Rick and I are laying next to each other and we're watching it. And I'm like, nope. I'd fuck a bitch up. I'd go to jail for that. I would go to fucking jail for that.
Yeah, you ain't going to pull that with me.
Say that shit to me. That's disrespect. It's one thing for you to think my man is attractive. It's another thing to be disrespectful to my fucking face.
Yeah, because if you are with an attractive person, you have to understand that they're going to get hit on. Especially if y'all aren't like, if he's just walking through a bar, you're not actually together, like walking together. That's going to happen. Like, you know, and I get complimented all the time, even with Dante, and Dante's just shakes his head. I understand.
and Rick can handle it, but that's disrespectful.
That's taking it way too far.
So Rick and I are laying in bed watching it. I'm like, fuck, but he goes, "You better." I'd fuck him. We're both like, we're ready to go. We're ready to jump in the TV and fuck everybody up. I was like, "Oh, we are alike.
Oh, you let me.
We both would fuck a bitch up." Now we're an hour and a half of this. But we skipped last week. So y'all look, I told you might get a bonus episode. Maybe not. Maybe you'll just get a 2-hour episode the way this shit's going. Split it up, y'all. I'm still not doing my drink, but I'll finish it later. What else we got? Anything else? Are we done? We got anything?
I don't have any more. I have some of our girl questions that I have been accumulating.
I say let's just make this a long episode.
Okay, so I have girl night question cards, and I have picked out a few, but I always forget to bring them, so I went ahead and just put a couple on the laptop so that I could choose from them. So I want you to choose a number between 1 and 13.
9.
All right. Number 9. What is the best or worst advice you've ever been given?
The best, which I've said before, was my mother's.
I love this one.
You know this
You
one.
should definitely coin it. I'm telling you.
It's just as easy to love a rich man as a poor one.
Amen.
I thought she was wrong. I was fucking wrong myself.
She's not wrong.
No, she's not wrong. It's just as easy to love a rich man as a poor one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that. I don't know worse because I've got a lot of bad advice in my life.
Yeah, all right.
But I'm going to go with that. Yeah, that's mine. What's yours?
I don't really know. It's hard for me to sit here and think of, but I mean, I have to go with yours.
Sherry Vaughn was on top of shit.
Though,
Hey, remind me when we're done with this, talk about the T-shirt idea Rick came up with for us.
Okay,
but go.
T-shirt. I have to say, I have tried to love a rich man before, though, and because I've been with a lot.
It's got to be the right rich man.
I have dated guys, and like I said before, 95% of the guys that I've been with have cheated on me. There have been a couple that I've been with that the relationship ended for reasons other than infidelity.
Right.
But most of them I've been cheated on. So I got to the point where I was like, if I'm just gonna date a guy and he's gonna treat me like crap, why wouldn't I just date a guy that at least I'm getting something out of it? At least I'm getting like something financially out of it, or like, because it ends up I'm always getting the shit into the stick.
But the thing is, there's just as many good guys with money as without. And now when I met Rick, he didn't have any money. Now he does very well. I love him the same.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more fun when he can afford me.
It is. It's nicer to have somebody.
I'm not
who is
using it. He'll say
financially
that you were with me when I had nothing. You definitely are not here for that.
Yeah.
But I'm still here.
I'm still here.
I'm gonna need you to share it. That sounded just like my mom right there. I don't know. If you knew my mom, you just heard my mom's voice come out.
Right.
All right. What's the next question? What you got?
Do you want to pick another number?
Yeah. 11. What was my choices? 1 through what?
13.
11.
What do you admire about me? Okay, I want to go first.
Okay.
So what I admire about you is your ability to make really good women friends. That has always been one of the things that I've been drawn to. Is just like you are very, very confident in yourself without even trying. And that's one of the things that I admire most about you is how confident you are, just walking into a room confident, and you can make friends just anywhere you go. So that's what I admire.
You know what's funny? I just told the story about how we met this weekend when I was in Galveston to my sister-in-law. She asked how we met. She listens to the podcast. She asked how we met, and I told her how we met and how you were like, I want to be your friend when we're going to hang out. And she thought that was the best thing ever.
Yep.
I would say what I admire about you is how you protect yourself. Because as women, we're caregivers.
Yeah.
We don't always protect and caregive ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so I do filter things more now that we're close through your eyes. I think, how am I protecting myself? Mm-hmm. Am I making the right choice? What would Kelly do? Mm-hmm. And I used to have a girl that worked for me years ago, Megan, love you, Megan, that would always filter everything. What would Zada do? Like, what would Jesus do? What would Zada do? And she'd always say, what would Zada do? And it was an ongoing joke. I do think about that with you.
It's good.
Yeah. No, I really look up to it.
Okay, I'm gonna pick one. Oh, I like this one. It is, what was it? What's a memorable date that you have been on? So one of your most memorable dates. It doesn't have to be with the person that you're with.
Yeah.
It can just be anything. One that's just like, oh my gosh,
it was the last big date with Rick. I got 2.
Okay.
2.
Go.
Okay.
You can have more than one.
The last one with Rick, not last one because we went to dinner the other night, but when he surprised me with that little surprise weekend, that little evening, it was out of his norm, and he did that for me. But he brought it up last night, and he was like, that was the best weekend, and we need to do that more often, make that happen. And he goes, and I don't just want one night, I want a whole weekend of that.
Aww.
Which was really sweet, The other one was not Rick. Before Rick, and it was just very sweet and kind. But I was dating a guy, and he was a little younger than me, as usual. And we went to this Mexican restaurant in the middle of nowhere. And I don't remember why we went out to the middle of nowhere, but we had a reason. I had to get something. Maybe I was picking something up off of Facebook or something. I don't know, but it was like an hour and a half away. So he goes with me. We go there. After we finish, we get Mexican food at this restaurant near there. We just randomly found a Mexican restaurant. We don't know the area at all. Mm-hmm. We get it. It's, but at this point, the sun's gone down. It's evening. And the restaurant has speakers on the outside. And they're playing George Strait. And we come outside and we're leaving. We're going to our vehicle. And we're in two different vehicles because he had to pick something up for me. I don't know what. And this song is playing. I take it back. I'm sorry. It's been years. I have to think about it. It wasn't on the speaker of the restaurant. There was a biker there. And it was on his bike.
Even better.
And it was on his bike. And he was with a woman. And I don't know if they were playing it for each other or what. And it was, I want to say it was George Strait. And I couldn't tell you what song it was. I really got to think about it. And my date said, let's dance. And we're in the parking lot where no one's dancing. And we started dancing in the middle of the parking lot. And it was very sweet. And it was, I do think about that day. And that's how when I think about that, dating that person, I associate it with how sweet it was.
That's sweet.
That let's dance right now. Let's just do this. Because not all men are confident just doing that.
No, they aren't.
No.
It's hard to get a man to dance with you at a place where other people are dancing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Definitely hard when y'all are
it is.
sticking out. Yeah.
Al just walked by. That's what I was waving at. He just waved at us. I told him we were going to be here today. But no, I would say though, the weekend before last, when Rick and I went to
Had y'all spontaneous date.
had our which it was not really spontaneous because apparently he had planned more than I thought. Mm-hmm. But he did everything to make me happy and still got what made him happy in it. And the fact that we could combine the two, it was the best weekend.
That's sweet.
It really made me love him more, honestly, because I know he did it for me.
Yeah.
But he enjoyed it as much.
Yeah.
And that's the key when he gets something from it, I guess. So I'd say that was good. What's yours?
So I'll share two. I'll show one that was with Dante and one that's not. So my one that has always stuck out with me is I wasn't dating this guy, but we had started talking and we had a crush on each other when we were younger, but we never dated or anything, but we started talking. And so we didn't have plans to have a date or anything like that. He just came and picked me up and we were driving around just so we could talk and, spend time with each other. And we ended up stopping at a historical marker that wasn't very far from my house. It was really literally just down the road. And I'd never stopped at it before. And so he stops at the historical marker and we get out and I tell him, I was like, I have wanted to stop at this historical marker and actually read this. I've lived in Waxahachie my whole life. I've never stopped and actually read.
Is this the one coming from Red Oak?
Yeah, actually stopped.
I've never stopped there, and I've always wanted to.
He was like, "Oh, that's so cool!" So I read it, and I was like, "That's so sweet, thank you." So I kissed him, not a big kiss, just a kiss, and so I was like, he's like, "I get a kiss out of that?" I was like, "Yeah, I've always wanted to stop and read this historical marker, and I never actually took the time to do it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much." So I kissed him. So he spent the rest of the evening driving me to every historical marker that in town that he could think of.
Oh my gosh!
So that he could get another kiss.
I feel you. That's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That could be in a movie.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
That's cute.
And one of my favorite ones with Dante is funny because we decided we were gonna go out because he didn't have his kids, and so we were gonna go on a date night. But I really wasn't feeling very well that day. But we don't really get a lot of date nights to go out with each other. So I was like, oh well, I'm just gonna get ready. So we both get ready. And of course, he's ready before I am. So he's just laying in bed watching TV, waiting for me to finish. And so I come in the room. I haven't put my shoes on yet, but I had them in my hands. And I just kind of did one of my, which he does it. Sometimes I'll take a deep breath in. I'll be like, anytime I do that, he mimics me every time.
Rick does that to me
he'll
too.
Do it too.
That's
like,
funny.
And I'm like, what? And he's like, what, babe? I was like, and I didn't even say anything. He's like, you don't want to go out, do you? I was like, no. He's like, well, let's just stay in. And I loved that. I love that somebody who can just read you and understand that, okay, well, we don't have to go anywhere. We can just stay here.
Yeah.
And that was one of our best date nights because we didn't even go anywhere because I would just love that he was more in tune with wanting me to be happy than going out and doing anything. And
it's funny, the historical marker thing. Every time that we take a road trip, Rick makes me look up every historical marker as we pass it. And he won't even say historical marker, and he'll be like, 3364. Because, they have a number.
yeah.
And so, look it up. And I'll look it up and I'll read it to him. So the other day, the weekend that we had our weekend, we passed one, and he was like, 3648, whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, I look it up, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, we've already done this one. We've already done this one. He was like, we've hit a second. We've done this one before. I was like, yep. He was like, we're moving in the right direction. I was like, okay. Okay, that's funny. The historical marker is what you said, because that is kind of our thing. Mm-hmm. He loves a good historical marker.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's probably one of the most.
I like it.
The cutest little kind of romantic things.
Yeah, that's really sweet. Isn't that funny? That's and you didn't even date him. That was just like a date.
Well, we ended up dating after that.
Oh, okay.
He sealed the deal.
He sealed the deal. Guys, take notes.
We weren't dating at that time. We were just, that was one of our first little like hangout things. Even though we'd known each other, we went to school together. We'd known each other a long time. But we never actually dated until then.
Cute.
So,
that is so cute.
That's sweet.
I will say my son, Zane, is really good about sweet things like that. He doesn't tell me. He's real guarded about that kind of stuff. He likes, honestly, before this girlfriend, the one he's been with the last few years that he lives with, and this is the love of his life. And I do believe they have a great connection, and I love her. But whenever I notice, he makes sure he gives her extra attention. So, like, they'll do something. He never posts. He's not a social media person. But if it is National Girlfriend's Day, or if it is anything like that, it's like the only time he posts. Is he going to post Mother's Day? No.
No, I'm sorry.
He's going to call me. But he recognizes he needs to recognize her. And I'd rather him recognize her than me.
Yeah.
And it always makes me think, I've raised a man that knows how to take care of his woman.
That's good.
And it makes me feel good. Like, as a mom, I succeeded. That is what he should do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's little things like that. He does little things like that for her. And I'm always like, I did good with that one.
Good job, Mama.
Yeah, because the rest of my kids hate all other people that they're dating. But Zane's got this.
Got it.
He's a romantic at heart. That girl is his girl.
That's
you
good.
know? So yeah, I think that's good. I like your stories. That's good. All right, should we keep going, or we're at 1:40? Man, we're keeping these people busy.
Well, it's almost 1, so.
Oh yeah, we're going to see our movie. So no, we're
we
about
got
to
a movie to
tie it up.
catch. So
yeah. So I guess we'll maybe do another episode this week. Maybe not, because it's kind of counted as 2.
Yeah, true. But I'm getting my car fixed, so
yeah.
Hopefully I'll have it back by like Tuesday. So if I do and we can meet up on Wednesday, then we'll do it.
All right, just let me know.
So sounds
okay.
good.
All right, sounds good. So y'all join us again. But if you want to find us or send us an email, let's say the email address again.
It is 2sidesandthetruthpodcast@outlook.com.
And if you want to follow us on social media, I'm Z Mama Seats on Instagram. I'm Zada Owens, Zada Owens on Facebook, and Kelly is
Kelly Lady Pearl on Instagram. And I know I'm behind. I know I've got some people that have added me, and I haven't added you back because I see the notifications. But I'm gonna get on there. I'll get back on it. I'm just the worst at social media, but I promise I will get back to it, and then I'll add you guys.
All right, sounds good. And y'all join us again for the next episode of Two Sides and the Truth. Bye, y'all. Bye.